Hello, hello. I pretty much just woke up. I'm just doing my reading, my daily reading, and uh, I don't want this to be like super dark. Oh my goodness, dog. Anyways, I'm doing my daily reading of my books that I like to read every morning instead of doom scrolling, and I just got into a little cycle, into a little process of thoughts. And so I was like, you know what? Whenever I get into this kind of mode, into this mood of just like thinking these thoughts and trying to work things out, I'm like, you know what? I want to speak to the camp. And if I say some wisdom, fair enough. Anyways, I want to show you all the books I'm reading today. So the first book I start out with, and I might do a video on all the books I've read and just I'm planning on reading, showing y'all my library. I'm trying to build a library of like all the books that you would read if you want to become the ultimate human, the ultimate MC. So first, I start out by reading The Daily Laws by Robert Greene. In this book, it's a little paragraph that you read every day. So you see little paragraph, little paragraph, little paragraph, little paragraph, little paragraph. So in this book, it's just a little paragraph every day, and you just read it. And then there's a little thing, a little daily law on the bottom that you can read and meditate upon. And yeah, he pretty much, the author, has all his genres in this one book. So power, seduction, mastery, strategy, and human nature. So pretty much all the books that he's written in the past are kind of summarized in this entire book, but each month has a theme. So the month of July is seduction. The last month, I can't remember. but but then after I read it, I like to write about it. I like to write about it, and I write about it every day. So just to like wake my brain up, I like force my brain to remember what I just read. So I like write about it in this like journal, and I write every single day what I thought or what I took away from the daily law. Just so I feel like I'm actually digesting the information and not just reading it for the sake of reading it, you know what I mean? And yeah, so then after that, I'm reading a new book that I got put on by one of my friends. We got Liber Chaos. So this is chaos magic for the pandemonium. And I'm only starting it. Like I'm literally, if you could see the crease, I'm literally like right there, just about. So I'm literally just getting into it. But this book is about chaos magic and how chaos magic works and how to use it. And so yeah, so far so interesting. Um yeah. I don't have much to say about this book right now just because it's more like at the start it's really just really technical, just like talking a lot about like physics and stuff. And so yeah, but I'm enjoying it. I'm thinking I'm gonna keep reading it just because it just sounds really interesting to me. And then the third book I read is Science. This book, so what I like to do, yeah, I like to read 3 books at a time. So this one is like very small, easy to digest. so it wakes me up. Then I like to read a main book. So like the main book right now is this. And then I like to read a side book. Just so I can not get so I don't have to get bored of the same topic the whole time. So my main book was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That was my last main book. That was a really, 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 really good book. And then my last secondary book was The Master Key System by Charles F. Hannell. Another really, 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 really good book. Amazing book. I don't like the writing style of Napoleon Hill and Charles F. Hannell is very similar. So it's like whenever I read those two books, it's almost like I'm reading like two brothers copying each other. It's funny. But anyways, this book, I got it because the name sounded interesting. So it says Signs, the Secret Language of the Universe, Laura Lynn Jackson. I got it because I thought it would be like a book of like signs, like, you know, synchronicities, if you will. Like, you ever like walk around the street and some crazy thing happens and you're like, whoa, that felt a bit too orchestrated to just happen, do you know what I mean? So that was kind of the idea. And right now I am somewhere around, yeah, I'm around here. So like I'm nearly halfway through the book. And this one's interesting because it's more so, I thought it would be like a practical book of like, yo, if you're walking down the street and this happens, this is probably what's going on. But it's more so a book of just stories. So the author that wrote this book is a medium, and they like do readings and stuff for people about their dead relatives. And this is just a lot of stories of relatives dying and then being like, yo, my favorite thing when I was alive was unicorns. So now you're gonna see unicorns everywhere and all the time. And that's gonna be me. So that's pretty much that book, if I were to sum it up to what I've read so far. But the main point, and I'm already 7 minutes into this video, but the main point that I wanted to get across, I have two little things I want to say, is I've noticed, and this is all my own research. Matter of fact, I am actually, because all right, so I got a journal as well that I like to journal all my stuff into all my stuff, all my private stuff that I like to write down, my thoughts, my mind. It's nearly full, actually, as you can see. It's nearly full. I'm gonna need a new one soon. But I also have this one where it has like little like not sleeves, but like little things where it's like it divides the book, or it divides the journal. So I was like, oh, what can I do with that? So for the first one, I got notes on books. So I summarized all of Atomic Habits into the first part, and then the next part I started summarizing Think and Grow Rich. And then on the second sleeve kind of thing, I have notes on self. And yeah, I've noticed things about myself, and I'm just writing about it now because I want to like make like a map of yourself. Like, I want to make a map of me so that I can read this and be like, oh, okay. And then I want to like see if that applies to other people, and if it does, then it's gonna be like a book. I'm gonna write it in a book form, and it's gonna be very straight to the point, Because I feel like with a lot of these like books that I've been reading, they like to just beat around the bush a lot. Not a lot. Like the things they say is important, but I would love if there was a book that like you can just read and you're just like, oh damn, like fully the whole time you're just like, oh damn, oh damn, oh damn. So this is like the idea of the book is just, if it makes sense, to just be like, here's how to fix this, here's how to fix this, here's how to fix this. So this is a perfect segue into the next thing that I want to say, which is I would like to say that my goal and the reason why I'm reading all these books, the reason why I am doing the things I am doing, is because for most of my life that I've lived, up until the end of me being 20 and the start of me being 21, and I've said this before, is up until those points, I was extremely unsocial, antisocial. I was extremely self-conscious, timid, scared, embarrassed, ashamed, weak, anything that you can describe in a negative form. I was the embodiment of those things. I was anxious, I was fearful, I was, if I could describe it in a sentence, mentally small. Mentally small, hateful, resentful, all the negativity. I was the embodiment of that. But I knew deep down that I always wanted to be social, and I always wanted to be quote unquote extrovert. And I always wanted to be smooth and agile with how I socialize. And I've always wanted to be firm and secure and confident and assertive and all these positive traits. And so that's where the resentment built, is because I saw other people and they had the things that I wanted and I didn't have those things. And I just felt like it was because I didn't win the lottery of life and I just was born with bad cards. And that's the reason why I felt the way I felt. And so I, slowly but surely, around the age 18, I started to work on and realize that things that I was doing were not good for me. And I wanted to fix, or at least improve, my actions, my activities, all of these things. I wanted to improve them. And so I slowly but surely started to just like work on those little things. Like I used to be addicted to vaping, so I started working on that. Addicted to porn, I started working on that. Addicted to my phone, which I'm still working on that, to be fair, but I used to drink, I used to eat terrible food, I used to do all these things, And before, my mind was like, yo, if I just cut out all the things outside of myself, it will magically make me better inside. So I was working from the outside in. But I realized eventually that everything that's wrong with you is from within. And then once you fix the within, you can fix the without. But where I'm going with this is that my goal in life at the moment, I know I have music that I want to succeed in. But I realized that, and this is from one of the 48 laws of power as well, this is the law of focusing your forces. Don't spread your forces too thin. If you want to get something done, you must focus all your energy on that one specific thing before you can focus on anything else. And so I realized that if I want to get to where I want to go, I have to fix myself first, or at least become the person that I want to become. And so, yes, my goal in life is ultimate confidence. And that's what I'm calling it at the moment. Ultimate confidence. That's what I'm dubbing it. That's what the name that came to my mind is, okay? Ultimate confidence, okay? And that's why I'm reading all these books. But I've noticed, and this is what I wanted to talk about. And I understand now why people like upload half-an-hour videos, because there's so much there's so much on my mind, and so much that I like sharing, and so much that it's just this is very fun. So anyways, ultimate confidence. I'm analyzing myself. I started analyzing myself so that I can make like a guideline to becoming the best person that you possibly can become, because I know what it's like to be in that place of being and feeling worthless. So I've noticed that, and this is more getting into like esoteric knowledge, but there's such things called harvests, right? There's like major harvests and minor harvests, and like minor harvests happen quite like, from what I believe, they happen quite like often. Do you know what I mean? And I've heard before that progression is like a spring. So if you can imagine, you start at one point and then you slowly start elevating, but eventually you hit the same point at which you started at, but you're actually higher up, but it feels like you're still back here because it's a spring. So it's going to continue to hit the same point continuously. So like I don't exactly know everything about like harvest or anything about, like, I don't exactly know what these things are. I've just heard about them, and if I were to place my own experience to them, this is what I'm talking about. So like a major harvest, you know, it's when you fully progress to like the next stage of existence type beat. And then a minor harvest, and this is what I'm deciding to dub it as, it's just like a reset to see if the things that you were learning are actually you can put into practice. And so I've noticed that at the start of this month, which was it's the third today, but the third hasn't finished, so like 2.5 days ago, I've noticed that like I fully like reset and become more timid and more like, I just feel like I was going up, and then I just back to that starting point again, square one. Do you know what I mean? I've just noticed that. I was like, it's too much of a coincidence to just be like, oh, it's the start of the month, so you're just gonna magically or coincidentally feel like you're reset. You know what I mean? Because at the end of June, I felt like I was super high up, bro. You know, I felt like I was finally getting to that point of like, yo, I'm getting there. You know, I'm getting there. June finishes, July starts, and I feel like I've reset. Not reset fully, but I feel like I'm back at square one. But it's like if you ever played Roblox, if you ever played any of those like tycoons or any of those like mining simulators or any of the simulators, you know, there's a thing such as rebirths where, and this is actually a perfect way of describing it. It's like a rebirth, because when you rebirth in those games, all your progress gets set back to zero, but the multiplication effect of what you do gets like doubled or tripled or whatever, do you know what I mean? Or like just at least it's x'd in some way. So someone that's rebirthed can start from 0 and they'll get more XP than someone that's literally just starting out. Do you know what I mean? As I'm using Roblox to explain my philosophy right now. This is so funny. But I feel like I've rebirthed pretty much. And that's what I mean with like a minor harvest. And again, I don't fully understand what the hell harvest is. So I'm just trying to put my own grasp on this. Anyways, I feel like I've rebirthed pretty much. And I'm still analyzing this, but I wanted to talk about it just because it feels relevant to what I'm trying to do. And this is not the first time I feel like I've rebirthed. You know, I feel like every so often I get put back into square one, and then I get super frustrated because I'm like, why do I feel like this again? Why is this happening to me? Why? But if I can grasp it and understand why something's happening, I'll be able to write myself a formula, or at least a guideline of like, okay, well, this is what you do when you reset. Like, this is how you like speed run back to where you were. Or even if you aren't meant to speed run, be like, okay, it's fine. I'm not a level 0. I would just reset. Anyways, that's what's been on my mind. And for anyone going through the same thing, if anyone is on a similar journey, just remember that if you do feel like you're at square one again, you're not. Every little thing that you do is some way, some form going to be a part of the progression. Every little thing that you're gonna do. So don't feel that by resetting you're fully just going back to 0 and everything you've learned is worthless. Because it feels like that sometimes. It does feel like that sometimes. And that's not the case. I will continue to analyze my findings. And once I figure out how to overcome these resets, I will let y'all know. At the moment, I'm still figuring this stuff out. I'm still figuring out about all this stuff, okay? But yeah, the last thing I wanted to talk about is that, yeah, I've noticed that with this channel, like, I find that I only want people that are meant to see it to see it. It's not that I'm like trying to gain something from it. If you're meant to see this video, you will. And if you're not, you won't. Or if you're not meant to see it and you see it, you just won't get it. And that's how I see this channel. It's like, the way I was thinking about it is that it's like a secret club. You know what I mean? It's a secret club. So everyone that's a part of the secret club is part of the secret club. And it's a secret, so you can't get in unless you know about it type beat. If you know, you know. And so, yeah, that's what this is. That's what I find this is. And yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love sharing my thoughts. I love sharing my mind. And that's what I wanted to show, actually. That's what I remember. There's a great passage in Think and Grow Rich, which I had to write down. And it's called, well, you probably won't be able to see it, but it's called the self-confidence formula. self-confidence formula. Do you know what? I'm gonna read it. To close off the video, I'm gonna read this self-confidence formula. And every day I wake up, I read my books. In the formula it says that you will read it every day. And I read it every day so that I can speak it into existence. And I can, when I feel timid, when I feel low, and this is like a piece of advice that everyone that's on this kind of journey says, is that you should always chase the fear rather than running from it. If you run from the fear, it controls you. If you chase it, it has no power over you. So every time I feel timid, I just read this out loud. And like, the walls in my house, they're pretty thin, so people can hear me. Or at least that's what I think. People can hear me. Like, I won't know if they can hear me or not. But the thought of other people hearing me makes me feel timid. So that's why I do it. It's like I say it, and then when I do it, it's like splashing cold water on your face. You're like, and then you realize you can survive it. If you fear the cold water and you never jump in, that cold water is going to is going to control you. You're never going to go anywhere near cold water. But if you jump straight ahead into the cold water, it's gonna feel very bad at the start. And then you realize you can survive it. And so, and if y'all wanna like find this, just, I don't know if the Think and Grow Rich book is online. If it is, go onto there and find the self-confidence formula. If not, just write down what I say, or yeah, just write down what I say, okay? Self-confidence formula. First, I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. I demand of myself persistent, continuous action towards its attainment, and I here and now promise to render such action. Second, I realize the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward physical action, and will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon the task of the person I intend to become, thereby creating in my mind a clear picture of that person. Third, I know through the principle of autosuggestion, any desire that I persistently hold in my mind will eventually seek expression through some practical means of attaining the object. Therefore, I will devote 10 minutes daily to demanding of myself the development of self-confidence. Fourth, I have clearly written down a description of my definite chief aim in life, and I will never stop trying until I shall have developed sufficient self-confidence for its attainment. Fifth, I fully realize that no wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. Therefore, I will engage in no transaction which does not benefit all whom it affects. I will succeed by attracting to myself the forces I wish to use and the cooperation of other people. I will induce others to serve me because of my willingness to serve others. I will eliminate hatred, envy, jealousy, selfishness, and cynicism by developing love for all humanity, because I know that a negative attitude towards others can never bring me success. I will cause others to believe in me because I believe in them and in myself. I will sign my name to this formula, commit it to memory, and repeat it aloud once a day, with full faith that it will gradually influence my thoughts and actions so that I will become a self-reliant and successful person. So that's the self-confidence formula. There's also some parts I've written down that I also like to read afterwards, and I think these are really cool. Faith is the eternal elixir which gives life, power, and action to the impulse of thought. There are no limitations to the mind except those we acknowledge. Both poverty and riches are the offspring of thought. And then there's a little poem that I took down as well. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win, but think you can't, it's almost certain you won't. If you think you'll lose, you're lost. For out of the world, we find, success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you are outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but sooner or late, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. Thank you.